Okay, this lesson will be on evaluating functions. This will be if you're going to use the Casio calculator. So everything I'm going to do here is going to be off the Casio calculator. All right, so this is going to be for evaluating. All right, let's say, go ahead and write these two examples down. Start pretty basic. Okay, go ahead and write these two examples down. All right. If you're using the Casio calculator, all right, it's a couple things. When you to switch your calculator to the on mode, you hit shift and the AC button for on. Okay, this is your menu of your Casio calculator. The way you move around the menu is you can use this little keypad. As you can see, this little thing is highlighting. The thing we want to focus on today is the run area. Okay, now your calculator has an execute button, not an equals button. So your execute's down here. So I want to go to this run area and hit execute. Okay, to clear something, just hit the AC button. Okay, now if you'll notice, you got this red key. That's for alpha. Now, if you notice these keys above in red, they have letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. Then the P's here, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So your alphabet is there. So when you're putting in your letters, you hit the alpha key. Okay? The functions that are above the calculator, for instance, the square root function is here. I want to then use the yellow shift key to get to that. So that's how you sort of use the Casio calculator. All right? So when I'm evaluating, they want x being -6, y being 4. So what I do is I type my number, okay? Then I use this little arrow key, okay? Then I do alpha, and then I find the letter X, which happens to be right here, okay? That's the letter X, and then I hit execute, okay? Then I do 4, I hit this little arrow, then I hit the alpha key, and then I select the Y button, and I hit execute. So basically, it's the number, the arrow, okay, the letter, and then you hit execute. And what that does is it stores the question, okay? Now, what I want to do once it's in there is just type this part that I see. So 5, alpha, X. Okay, to make an exponent, we use this key. 2 is the exponent, minus, okay, 8, alpha, y. So I type in it just like I see it, and it calculates it, and it gives me my answer. Okay? Now, you can do 3. Okay? You can do 3 numbers. 10, arrow, alpha, A, execute, -4, and make sure you use this signal for negative, arrow, alpha, B, execute, 6, arrow, alpha, C, execute. So now all of those are in. I do 8, alpha, A, -4, alpha, C, divided by 2, alpha, B. It gives me my answer of 83. Okay? And that's how simple that is. Okay? Let me give you guys 2 like that to do before we go on to a couple other more challenging questions. All right, let's say I have 6y squared minus 10z, where y is -12 and z is 9. Okay? and then 4, let's say 20a plus 60c divided by 4b, where a is 8, b is -3, and c is 2. Okay, so go ahead and pause your video, and go ahead and see if you can come up with these answers. Okay, so -12 arrow alpha y, alpha y execute, 9 arrow alpha z execute. Type my function, 6 alpha y exponent 2 minus 10 alpha z execute. So 774. Okay? All right. This one I want to put 8 alpha, or 6 arrow alpha A, -3 arrow alpha B, 2 arrow alpha C. Okay, and then I'm typing in my function. All right, 20 alpha A plus 60 alpha C, alpha C divided by 4 alpha B, 150. Okay, all right, pretty simple stuff there. All right, now let's go on to a couple more examples. All right, I'd like you to put these in. Cube root of b plus the square root of c, where b equals 64, c equals 100. Absolute value of d minus e plus h cubed. And then the last one, where d is 4, e is 12, h is 9. Okay? And then let's do absolute value of 2 minus 6. Oops, not 2 minus 6. I get some letters there. Let's say a minus b, where a is 4, b is 6, and we're going to do square root of a plus 5b. Okay, so go ahead and take a minute and copy those down. Okay, and now we're going to go through these. Okay, we're going to go through these examples. All right, so we want to store our values. 64 arrow alpha b, 100 arrow alpha c. Okay, now let's talk about how do we get to these functions here. Okay, the cube root button is located right here. So what I want to do is I want to hit shift, the yellow key, and then this parenthesis, and that gives me my cube root, then alpha b, plus, to get to the square root, I hit shift, and then here's where the square root is, there, alpha c. That's how I get my answer of 14. Okay, now the absolute, let's do this next one. Let's put our letters in. 4 arrow alpha d, 12 arrow alpha e, 9 arrow alpha h. Okay, now for this, for absolute value, to make this easy, we're going to calculate the absolute value first. Okay, so whatever's in here, so I would do alpha d minus alpha e. So I'm going to handle this inside part. So I know that is -8, but we learned that the absolute value makes stuff positive. So I'm just going to do this now. I'm going to make that a +8. So I'm going to do 8 plus alpha h exponent 3. That's going to make that easier on us. That's going to give us 737. Okay? Now, just like we learned last time, we want to handle the parts of the fraction first. So let's go ahead and put my numbers in. I'm going to do 4 arrow alpha A, 6 arrow alpha B. Okay? So what I want to do is I want to handle that top part first. So square root, shift an x squared, alpha A, plus 5 alpha B. Okay? So that top part is 32. I want to handle this part that's inside that part first. So I'm going to do alpha A minus alpha B. So that's -2. Now, what we know about absolute values, it makes it positive. Okay? So I got 32 up top divided by 2. It's going to give me 16. Okay? So that's how you do that one. Okay? I'm going to give you guys 3 to try on your own. All right? Square root of y plus the cube root of z, where y is 144 and z is 125. Let's do absolute value of c minus d plus a to the 4th, where a is 3, c is 5, d is 21. And then the last one here, absolute value of a plus b, square root of a minus 4b. Okay, where a is 2, b is negative. Actually, let's make a 9, and b is negative 18. Okay, so go ahead and pause your video. Okay, that's a square root symbol. Let me clear that up. So go ahead and pause your video and go ahead and do those problems. Okay? So what I want to do, all right, 144 arrow alpha y. Okay, 125 arrow alpha z. Okay, all right, I want to do square root, so shift, and then right here for square root, alpha y plus shift cube root alpha z. It'll be 17. Okay, so I got this absolute value here. So what I want to do is first I want to load my answers. 3, I don't see in there, do I? Yeah. 3 arrow alpha A, execute. 5 arrow alpha C. 21 arrow alpha D. All right, so what I want to handle is I want to handle what's inside the absolute value first. So alpha C minus alpha D gives me negative 16, but I know that that's going to be positive, so 16 plus a to the 4th. All right, so 16 plus alpha A exponent to the 4th, and that gives me 97. Okay, I've got the absolute value here, so I'm going to handle that. Let's load my results here. 9 arrow alpha A, negative 18 arrow alpha B, which is right here. All right, so I want to do A plus B. So that's going to be negative 9. And so we know absolute value makes that positive, so the top part would be 9. Then I want to do the square root. So shift the next squared, alpha A minus 4 alpha B. That's going to be 75. And then I'm just going to go ahead and divide those numbers. 0.12. Okay? That's what you should have got from that. Okay. So now the last thing is an application involving evaluating. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, let's say that profit is equal to 5A plus 2B plus for C, all subtracted by E. And let's say A represents, let's say 20, B represents 14, C represents 18, E represents 121. Okay? So for an example here, it could say something like profit is determined by 5 times the apples sold, 2 times bananas sold, and 4 times the clementines sold, added together. Subtracted, okay? So the profit is determined by 5 times the apples sold, 2 times the bananas sold, and 4 times the clementines sold added together, minus the E for expenses, okay? You won't have to memorize this formula, they will give you this, okay? So what you have to be able to do, all right, is substitute these values, okay? Very simply, all right? So I would put 20 in for A, I put 14 in for B, I put 18 in for C, and I put 121 in for E. All those using the alpha key, okay? So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna type in my parentheses, 5 alpha A, plus 2 alpha B, plus 4 alpha C, minus E. So my profit is $79, okay? So all you're doing is substituting that stuff into that example, okay? Let's put it this way. Let's put your grade is determined by, the grade is equal to 0.8, your summatives for S, plus 0.2 F, okay? Let's say you have an average of 90 for your your summatives, and an 85 average for your formatives. What is your grade? Okay? All right, so they gave you the formula, they told you that stuff. All right, let's go ahead and pause see if you can figure that out. Okay, so what I would do is I'm going to put 90, arrow, alpha S for summatives, 85, arrow, alpha F for your formatives, and I'm 0.8 alpha S plus 0.2 alpha F. So my grade would be an 89. Okay? And so that is how to do the evaluation using the Casio.